Hey everyone, I am here a bit early with my 2018 reading goals. So this year I did not fulfill a lot of my goals as far as reading. I still read, but I think now I have a better perspective on what type of reader I am, how much I can actually do within a year when it comes to reading, and what's the most important thing to get out of, like, I want to get out of my reading. um, there were a lot of things I wanted to do last year, such as the Book Riot Read Harder Challenge, which is a great challenge. However, I found myself disinterested in finishing it after a while, and um, some of my Goodreads goals, or my Goodreads goal, was ridiculous for me. Let me say that. I thought I could do it, but certain changes happened this year. Like, I changed locations working for, with my job, and that actually impacted my reading a lot and slowed down my reading a lot. So this year, or for 2018, I realized I need to make more wiggle room. And I also realized with trying to reach those other goals, there were a lot of things I was missing out on as far as reading. So my first reading goal is to read 50 books. And so I put my goal up to 75 books last year, because what happened is I started working at a bookstore in end of June, July. I had more time to read then, but I wasn't anticipating like having to change locations, and that greatly affected my reading. Also, I felt like, hey, I read 35 books in half a year, so I could do almost double. I could pretty much do double that in a way, right? And I was wrong. So 50, I think, is a good marker. I'm almost up to 50 books now. I don't think I'm going to make it, just because I've been having a hard time finishing books this year. So I still think 50 is a safe bet. If I finish short of 50, I think I'd still be okay. I also want to focus on reading more pages versus books. Books with V, her channel, she talked about this last year, and Dee Dee from Brown Girl Reading talked about this. She did like a Instagram live. She talked about how reading more pages allows her to want to read bigger books. Like, it makes her happier to read bigger books, because which is a lot what people talked about a flaw in Goodreads too, is that one book equals one book, whether it's 10 pages or 1,000 pages. They all are considered the same thing as far as how many books you read this year. For example, like, I have a bind up of the Inheritance trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. There are technically 4 books or 3 books in a novella in that bind up. However, it counts as one book when I've actually read 3. And I didn't like that. So that shows a big flaw right there. So Goodreads also does count pages. I'm at a similar page count to what I read last year, which makes sense, based on, like, I'm a little over 40 books now. Last year I think I maybe read 35 books when I started reading again in July. So, yeah. So this way, I'm not afraid to, like, read bigger books, and more so embracing the bigger books and embracing that they're going to take me longer. However, I am still reaching a goal every page I flip. So the next one I want to do is to continue a year with Morrison. However, I want to just at least read 3 Toni Morrison books. So I guess it's no longer a year with Morrison. It's going to be years with an S with Morrison. That leaves some wiggle room. I also don't have to read them back to back to back. I think 2017 was just also a hard year to read such heavy work. Just so much going on this year. And then to read things that were already written about horrible things that have gone on in the U.S. already. It was a lot. You know, especially, you know, she talks a lot about race and gender. So I think 3 is a good number, and I can slowly get through her work. Also, Miss Morrison hints in her book Origin with Others that she's working on another novel. So I don't know when that's going to come out, but if it comes out in 2018, I am ready. All right, so the next one reading goal is that I want to read at least one Bernice L. McFadden book next year. And like I said in my fall haul part 1 that I just filmed, there have been a lot of women on BookTube that have mentioned that they like Bernice L. McFadden, and I want to read her. So I'm not going to set out to read all her work. I just want to at least read one, and we can go from there. I already own one, so I won't feel bad if I don't buy the rest of her books, or if I don't, I just want to take a break and I want to read her slowly. But I do want to dabble in her work next year. So one book, holding myself accountable for one book is enough for me right now. And if I read more, that's great. So the next author I want to read is C.P. Patrick. Specifically, I want to read her book, The Truth About Auti. I think it's Awiti, Alti. I'll insert a picture. So I met her at a book group meetup back in the summertime. She's like a DC resident. I'm not sure if her books are self-published or they're just published. I don't know. But anyways, I didn't hear about her until I met these group of fabulous ladies, and she was invited by the host of the meetup. And they, in the one book they mentioned that was really good was Truth About Auti. Oh, Auti. I hope I'm saying that right. That one's also historical nonfiction. Historical fiction. So I want to read that one. I follow her on Instagram also. She looks like a lovely lady. I didn't really say anything to her at the meetup because I hadn't read any of her stuff. So I'm sorry. So I'm going to read it next year. A goal that's also really important to me is reading at least one book from every Heritage Month / week. One thing that I really wanted to do this year that I forgot about doing is reading one book that relates to whatever Heritage Month or week that's going on. I want to read diversely. I already read a lot of African American and Black African diasporic literature, but I do want to read books from other minority groups, and there being these national months, and it would give me like a month to read the book, really help. Number one, jog my memory that I wanted to read these books, and number two, a lot of other people usually will create videos or make lists because of the month for, you know, about books that go great with learning about this group of people. So I'm going to really try and hold myself accountable to that this year. I am also going to look up and make a list and put it in my planner of when which Heritage Month is what. I usually have a general idea, but like even this year, I did not know we had a National Asian and Pacific Islander Month. And that's important to know. And there's a couple books by Asian authors and about like Asian Americans that I've been wanting to read, so that when that month comes back around, I can do that again. And the last reading goal I have is to do the Free Black Women's Reading Challenge. They had one, not just the Free Black Women's Reading Challenge, the Free Black Women's Library Reading Challenge. So if you all don't know, I do not know the name of the sister who created it, but there's a woman from New York, a Black woman from New York, who created a literal free Black women's library. So only thing, she travels, she has like a bus, and I think she's taking donations now because she said the two things that actually cost her money is the travel and the storage for these books, which makes sense. Um, so she's traveled different places in New York, one on the East Coast, with her books, where um, everybody can participate in the library. You just have to bring, if you want a book, you have to bring a book by a Black woman. Um, you cannot take from the library without giving to the library. So it's almost like a book swap. However, sometimes people just donate their books, which is cool as well, and something I've even thought about. However, I don't, all the books that I want to give away, not many of them are by Black women. So I'm a little stingy in that way. However, if she does roll into town, I would totally buy some books so I could swap out some things. Like I've seen her Instagram. She ends up getting like older copies of certain books, some books that aren't in print anymore, and just like things with like beautiful covers that they don't print anymore. And just to like take part of that like Black woman gathering and like celebrating Black women writers. So she had a reading challenge last year. It was about 25 challenges, and the goal is that, okay, you can read a different book by a Black woman every 2 weeks. If she does not create a new challenge for 2018, I'm going to do the one she posted for 2017 because that one still looks great as well. So I also already have a lot of, if it's going to be like the one that she had last year, I already have things on my shelf that will fit that. And that's one of the issues I ran into this year with the Read Harder Challenge with Book Riot, is that I was at a point where I wasn't really buying books. And I don't go to the library often. I think they're great. I just don't take my ass there like I should. So going to the library was for that challenge. I was like, I have all these books here. I'm not doing it. So yeah, I think it'll fit more of what I already own and help me read the books that I already have on my shelf. And I just like studying Black women authors. I think they're awesome. So I know this video is going up a little early, and this is because I thought of my reading goals. I've been thinking about my new reading goals since maybe September, October. So let me know if you started planning your reading goals from the next year. I know Denise Cooper has already. She's doing the Blackout next year. And I remember thinking, she started preparing like in the summer. I'm like, why is she doing this so early? And now I understand why, because it's almost December, guys. And it's a little scary. But let me know what you guys think. I will talk to you later. Bye.